Hello! Welcome to my first vlog. Here I'm going to be documenting all the extra bits about Japan, about Kumamoto, about all the things that I'm going to say. As you can tell, I'm not there yet, I'm still at home. 6 days left before I fly from Heathrow, so I'm very nervous. But in this vlog I just wanted to tell you about how I learnt Japanese, what kind of material did I use, that kind of thing, if you're not someone from my university, or even if you are, so maybe some of the stuff that you maybe haven't seen before that you want to use, maybe you've not got an idea of how to improve, that kind of thing. So I'm just going to get started. Okay, so year 1 of my university course, because I started learning Japanese as a first year undergrad. These are the 2 books we used. So we have Basic Kanji Book 1 and Genki 1. So Genki 1, this has all the grammar that you'll need and a lot of vocab in there as well. That'll be really useful, and I have lots of exercises in the book. So you do actually get to practice what you've learnt. And there is a CD as well which supplements it, so you can use the CD to correct your intonation, use it to try and remember things. It has some of the examples maybe for listening parts of the practice, that kind of thing. So it is very useful. This is the first one that we've used. And then the Basic Kanji Book is how you improve your writing. Starts off with basic pictograms, that kind of thing. Then it moves on to get more and more, and each one it'll tell you how to write it, how to pronounce it. Then it tests you afterwards. So can you put it in a sentence? Do you know how to change it from hiragana or katakana to the kanji? Can you read the kanji how it is supposed to be read? That kind of thing. So it does test that you are learning it as well. So that's very useful. Another one that we used for the first year. Now in second year we used Genki 2 and Basic Kanji Book number 2. Again, this one just builds upon the grammar of the first book, and there are lots of it was a bit more challenging basically, but stuff that you should start to remember if you've already done Genki 1 and know it quite well. And the same with Basic Kanji Book 2, it's just an extension of the first book, just more complicated kanji, and it's the same format essentially. So very useful again. What other things can we talk about? Well, what kind of dictionaries do I use? So the first one I bought was the Pocket Kenkyusho Japanese Dictionary, and I think it's very useful, but the one problem is that it uses romaji a lot and doesn't really use hiragana or katakana to find the words. So if you are a complete beginner, it's quite good in that sense. But yeah, I mean it does have the hiragana next to it, but I think that would be a nice function to try and search for it yourself in hiragana. But it starts from the Japanese to English, and then English to Japanese at the back, so if you're stuck for a word you can always find it. And another one I use, I've not used this one yet myself, but I bought it and I think I'll use it a lot more in third year, maybe my final year when I get back from Japan. The way it works is you find the kanji using the radical. So for example, if it's got a tree on the side, you'll find it that way, and then you can count how many strokes it has and then work it off that. So I think that's really useful. As I said, I've not used it yet, so I can't tell you how good or bad it is, but again, it's just something I'm intending to use eventually. And this one is one I will be taking to Japan with me. It's called the Visual Japanese English Dictionary. Very handy. For example, topic, all the vocab you'll need on that topic with pictures, so it's a lot easier. For example, if you don't know the words, you can look it up yourself. You can see it's very clear of anything that you want to say. So it is absolutely wonderful. So For example, if I'm going to the hairdressers, I can talk about styles, colours, how I want my hair done. So do I want it hair dried? Do I want it washed? What kind of things do I want them to use on my hair, for example? And the kind of vocabulary you'll use associated with your appearance and your hair. So very, very, very good. Very good. Also, I use an app on my iPod. I'm not sure if this app is available on Android. I think it is. And it's called Emiwa. And again, it's just a really wonderful app. You can search for things via radicals. You can search for it in English. You can search for it in Japanese. You can search for it in Romaji. So it's good for anyone, basically. And you can change it so it shows you all the words, all the most frequent words. And it has additional results as well. So for example, gaijin. And there's all the results for it. So. And also, how else do I practice my Japanese outside of lessons? Well, before I started my university course, I bought this book, First 1,000 Words in Japanese, and the really good thing about this book is it doesn't give you any English at all. Now, to some that might be daunting, but there's lots of pictures in here, so you can't really go wrong when it's nouns. So there we have omochaya, and it just gives you all the words surrounded in that particular place. So omise, so the shop. What kind of things are you likely to find in a Japanese shop? How to pronounce it in Japanese and in Romaji as well. So it is honestly very, very useful. What kind of professions, opposites, feelings, and there's no English, so you have to kind of deductively work it out using the picture. So it's very, very good. How else did I learn? I bought these. I think these are from some kind of website called White Rabbit or White Rabbit Japan, something like that. But they're basically like cheat sheets for Japanese. And these are probably the most useful thing I've bought while I've been studying Japanese, because it has everything from basic Japanese to Keigo, and each one's double-sided. So there's lots of things to talk about. So it has your basic Japanese, so how you use wa and de and ga, other things that you use in speech and different conjunctions and formal and informal, tells you all about that. And then you have advanced verbs, telling you all about the different kind of verbs that you use, numbers and time, all the different kanji that you need to learn, advanced grammar that you'll need to know. And then I think these three are the reason, and then it's got these four are the most important ones for me as a learner of Japanese. So it tells you about keigo and what kind of things you need to use for keigo, so how you can be very, very polite to someone. The verbs you use, how to humble yourself, how to honour that other person. This is really, really useful cheat sheet. And then we also have, it's called Beyond Vocabulary, so set phrases that they use in Japanese, conjunctions, expressions with body parts, idioms, sentence leaders, adverbs, sentence cues, so what you're looking for in a sentence. If you hear this, you should hear this, which means this kind of thing, so it's very, very useful. Spoken Japanese, so the kind of things you're more likely to encounter when speaking. Conversation devices, fillers, sentence particle endings, word order, really, really good. And then natural Japanese, so how to sound a lot more natural compared to your textbook, which is very, very good. And finally, another way you can improve using books especially is buy a novel. So I bought this Harry Potter book. I've got the first 3 in Japanese, but at the moment I don't think I can read it that well and completely understand it. I'll be using a dictionary a lot, so I've not actually attempted to try it yet, but it's always something that I do have to hand that I am going to try and do one day in the near future. But also there's plenty of other things you can do whilst you're learning, not even Japanese, just any language. How have I managed to do it? So Post-it notes on objects that you've learned. Maybe have a word of the day. What other things have I done? Flashcards for nouns and verbs and things like that. I actually made posters for my bedroom as well with all the different verbs on, and that was really useful because I'd wake up every day, see them, so they're fresh, they're always in my mind, and then when I go to sleep they're there as well. Another thing you can do is listen to songs, watch TV, dramas, that kind of thing. I don't really know how much that benefits you as a language learner. I think for some it does benefit them, but for me personally, I really don't see the benefit of listening to a song. I mean, you can get words from it and things like that. I mean, for that kind of vocabulary it's useful, but I mean, as a language tool, I'm not too sure how much you can learn from that. For me personally anyway. What other things have I done? I'm trying to think. Oh, you can go to different websites as well and learn from natives. So I know of different websites where you can submit work, maybe in Japanese, and natives correct it for you, and then you can do the same in your own language as well, which is really useful, especially if you're learning a language. So it's about sharing these kind of different things, but again, you have to be cautious because someone will correct it in a way that you're not familiar with, and then there's no point in the correction then. But as I said, that's also very handy. There's also online tests as well, so you can test yourself. The JLPT, they have practice tests on their website, so you can use those as well to try and like see where you come on the JLPT. The JLPT is the Japanese language proficiency test, so yeah, I recommend that as well. And yeah, that's pretty much how I've learnt Japanese really, just trying to keep it constant in my mind, keep it fresh, and just keep it regular. The more regular you keep it, the more likely it is to stay in your long-term memory, I think. So yeah, that's it for me. Thank you. Sayonara.